Welcome to Out of the Box with Christine, the podcast for conscious entrepreneurs. Are you willing to step into your greatness? Are you ready to shine? Well, get ready, Truth Seeker. You're in for an amazing ride. And now, here's the host of the show, Christine Blosdale.
Welcome back to Out of the Box with Christine. I am, of course, your host, Christine Blosdale, your motivational multimedia coach. And I'm super excited about today's show because, oh my goodness, I haven't spoken to this lady in so long, and there's so much we need to catch up on. She is just this amazing human being. LISA HAISHA is a life coach, author, transformational speaker, TV host, and global traveler. I would really like your mileage, your fly miles here, because LISA has traveled to well over 60 countries, and she is the author of this fantastic new book called Soul Blazing: Transform Your Imposters into Superpowers and Live a More Purposeful, Authentic Life. Welcome to Out of the Box with Christine, LISA.
Hi, thank you so much. It's so great to see you again.
So good to see you as well. Oh my God, how long has it been? Has it been like 10 years or something?
Yeah, since I was in your studio in Hollywood.
That's so weird. That is so weird. Well, and we had such a great connection because the work that you do is so powerful and it helps so many people's lives. And you're authentic yourself. That's one thing I would say struck me when I first met you, your authenticity. And so I know that you walk the walk. You talk the talk, but you also walk the walk. And so I'm just so happy to be with you again today. So this book, Soul Blazing, it's not just a book, right? Soul Blazing is a lot more than just a book. Let's talk about this and how you came up with this, the term Soul Blazing, and particularly in this book as well.
Yes, it's right here, Soul Blazing. Yeah, it's much more than this because it really is a way of life. Because I feel like we blaze our way through this world, especially if you're ferocious and passionate like you are and I am. You just blazed your way to Australia.
Yes.
You know, we take chances, we take risks, and that's the only way to live. And if you're too cautious about everything and overthink and want to be liked by everyone and what is everyone going to think, you're never going to amount to anything. And I think I was brought up that way because I was brought up under a Baghdad roof in San Diego. And it was like, what will the neighbors think? What will the relatives think? All the time. It was never, who are you? Tell me about you. How do you want to live your life? It's what will everyone else think? And I think that was the genesis of this book.
That what will the neighbors think? Boy, that really, that was something that was so prominent and like everybody's lives not too long ago, and it still is in many ways. We tend to go, oh, we're so much more advanced than in the 70s, but yes. But are we? We are a product of our families, right? Of our community, of our culture, depending on where. I'm so grateful that I was, born and raised in Los Angeles. And I remember when I went to school, I think I was in kindergarten, and a kindergarten teacher said, oh, it's so sad. I'm so sorry for you, Christine. I was like, what's going on? And she said, you're from a broken home. And I was like, well, my home is broken. My parents divorced when I was 2. And at 4 or 5 years old, I actually thanked them personally for getting a divorce because I knew that they could not be together. My father had a very different personality than my mom. My mom, French, Moroccan, very French coquette, European. My dad from Burbank.
Oh my God. Yes.
Very rough kind of personality. And so I thanked them. So I didn't think that my situation was bad or negative because I had 2 homes, right? I had one in a rough area in Arleta, and then the other one in Woodland Hills. And so I was fine with it. I was like, what's wrong with that? And so much of it is that when we're kids, we don't really care or think about what other people think about us and our situation. We adapt. And I think this is something that's so important. I would love you to be speaking to kids. I would love Soul Blazing to be like a curriculum, like part of the curriculum for kids, because those messages are not being told right now, right?
Oh, absolutely. We always want to please. And when you're making choices or when someone's judging you, they're not judging you, they're judging you the way they see things, because we all are coming from our past and how we've been culturally trained. So it's not the truth, it's just their truth. So if people get that and teens get that, just be you. Everyone else is taken. And if you don't decide who you are, someone's going to tell you who to be in this world. And then you're never going to be okay. You're never going to be happy. And neither will anyone else, because you're never going to be perfect for them anyway. And I think I learned that early on, growing up again under a Baghdad roof. We went to a lot of funerals, and basically it was baptisms, funerals, weddings, and, gatherings, holidays and stuff. But at these funerals, it was fascinating to me because everyone wore black and there was like 100 people there for people who died. The women on one side, the men on the other. You might know that from your Moroccan background. But there'd be this woman there who would pass out tissue boxes to everybody. And I thought, okay, that's weird. And then she starts yelling at them in Arabic. And I didn't know what she was saying, but, I'm like, oh my God. And you see people going, crying. Like, what is she saying to them? And these are the front row people that are really the immediate relatives of the deceased. So in my mind at that time, I thought, what a horrible person. Who would stand up and do this? And then the women would go down the aisle in the church, and then, all the way to the gravesite, pulling their hair out and screaming. I'm like, whatever this woman said, this is tragic. But as an adult, I went back and go, what was happening? And it wasn't as bad as I thought, but these are trained like grief counselors. They're badass grief counselors to like go, oh, why are you crying? It's your dad. He wanted you to work in a store and you were too busy. Oh, you did this. Oh, you're the wife. You're crying. Well, you were never even there for him. You complained about whatever, his hair in the sink, and you didn't have his meals, or your kid died. You think you were his friend, or whatever it was. So they could get their grief out so they wouldn't have to spend the rest of their life crying.
Carrying it with them. But that's odd. That's
stupid in a way. Yes, in front of everybody.
I can see how that would influence you too as a kid, where you're like, I don't ever want to die, because I don't want this. I don't want my parents to go through this, or my family, or oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well,
but that's popular around a lot of cultures. And I spent a lot of time in Japan, about 10 years, about 3 months a year. And it's very popular in Japan. So I'm like, oh, okay, it's not just us, but.
Talk about your travels, because I think this is so important. Oh, the ability to travel and to see different cultures and people living in different ways. I mean, you've traveled, like I said, over like 60 different countries. And so we can make our world very small, and just like if we're just stuck in America and we never leave it, or we stay in our little hometown and we never leave it, we think that that's the world, right? Because that's all we've seen. Maybe we've seen some stuff on social media or television or the movies, but when you go and spend time, not just like at a hotel, at a resort, but like actually with people, families, you get to see all the beauty in the differences, but also you get to appreciate people who don't have the same things that that we do. I know you've been to some countries where they have to go several miles to just get clean water.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
talk about that. Were there any? I mean, everything is memorable. Every trip is probably very memorable. But any really special moments that you were just like, "Wow, okay, this is big."
Yeah, I think, like you said, there were so many special moments, because when you're sheltered as a kid and you're saying, this is all there is and this is how life is, and you have about 50 relatives. So you're seeing like a group, you know, this whole culture, this tribe, all behaving that way and thinking the same way. You start to feel like that's the way it is. And if you don't fit in to that thinking for whatever reason, your authentic soul is saying something's not right, you're wrong. And there's something about you going, I don't fit in, I don't belong. And then that starts the, if we're going to talk to teens a little bit here, that starts the process of I'm not good enough, I don't have value, I don't fit in. Who am I? Who am I to have this thought? Who am I to want this? Who am I to do anything? And when I was 16 years old, my story started with a cake and a gun, because I was baking a cake 3 houses down for a girlfriend whose birthday it was the next day with my other good friend. And my dad came home when the streetlights were on. And this was in the 70s when Charles Manson was out and all these serial killers. And he had 5 teenage daughters at the same time. And he usually worked all day. And he happened to come home to just spend an hour at home because he was starting to get a little help at the store. And when I walked through the door, there was a gun pointed at my heart. And I'm like, what's going on? And then I like, who is this person? I'm like, registered, ding, 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 ding. That's my dad, who I was very close to and who I loved and adored. And I'm like, what's going on? He's like, how could you be out there like that? How can you be dressed like that? I'm like, it's my checkered Catholic school uniform. And I just walked home from school. I was a couple houses down making a cake. And he's like, what kind of a girl are you? Send her to an orphanage. And I'm like, what is an orphanage? And my mom's like, calm down. She was just baking a cake. No, she was out when the streetlights came on. It was about 6 o'clock or 6:30. And that changed me. I looked at him. I'm like, I was just baking a cake. Then I said, I would leave if I could. Then he's like, take money. I'm like, goodness, why should I give you money? Then he took it back. I went, crying to my room going, oh my God, now this is all I knew. And that was my hero. And my mom was there and she's just trying to calm him. But then nobody came and said, are you okay? Or what's going on? It was just like, that's done. Okay, school the next morning. And I'm like, wait a minute, what about all these emotions and what just happened? So from being, I was even nominated Miss Compassionate in school and this good boy, straight A student, every hair in place. And, and it changed me. It made me think, what if everything I was taught is wrong? What if there's a whole nother world out there? So I started sneaking out of my window. And this is when travel started for me. My first trips were getting in cars. Only if you pulled over something, I'd say, oh, no, I'm sorry. Only Hell's Angels types would I get in their car. And then I would get in and say, are you going to kill me? Why did you pick me up? Why do you have this broken down car? Why do you have tattoos? Why do you have piercings? Why don't you have money? Who are you? Why do you live this life? Obviously, you don't have a mansion or you don't have money. You don't have family. Otherwise,
they're like, get out.
Yeah. They're like, where do you want to go? I said, nowhere. I just want to go around the block a few times. I want to understand. My dad said, I have to fear you. And, he's so mad at me that he pulled a gun on me because of you. So what are you going to do to me? Why are you that way? Why are you a bad person? Why did you choose? I just want to understand. And I did that about a dozen times. Not one person hurt me. And they became my angels. They became my therapists. And I would share with them all the stuff that I couldn't share with anyone else. And I became even more compassionate for people who you would normally judge. You're like, no, that's a choice. And these people have a right to be whoever they didn't want to play the game of working 100 hours a week and building this, building that. And they just wanted to have more freedom and develop their soul and do whatever it was. And I learned so much from that going, you don't have to be a workaholic. You don't have to have marriage and kids by 25 and have a house by 30 or you're a loser. So it started to shift everything. And then my maternal grandmother came over and said, she went to a psychic when my mom was young and said that her daughter was going to marry a foreigner and have 5 daughters. And one of them was going to be a star. And I went, I get to be the star. Then all my other sisters going, I don't care. I don't want to be a star. But to me, that was when Charlie's Angels and all that was out.
Oh,
I'm
girl,
like,
I
oh my
know.
God, yeah, I'm like, oh my God, you get fame, you get millions of dollars, you get freedom, you get to travel the world, you get to go to the White House, all this stuff was in my head. So I'm like, oh, let me get books on Audrey Hepburn, Liz Taylor, Barbara Streisand, figure out how to be a star. What is that? So that planted a seed, which also, when you're born, you've heard of the acorn theory, James Hillman, where we're all born with a seed in us and you have to water it to grow. And sometimes you stamp it out and you go in the wrong direction. But if you keep watering that, you're going to ultimately become who you're supposed to be when your personality meets, with your authentic soul. And your personality is your ego and everything that's been done to you to kind of prohibit you from reaching your goal, all your obstacles, right? So when they're in alignment, you're in your authentic soul, and that's your acorn when you become an oak tree. So I start thinking about that, going, oh my God, this is what I'm supposed to do. And then I was at San Diego State, and Madonna, her first tour, the Virgin Tour, her very first concert was at San Diego State, where I was going to college. I'm like, of course it is. She's from a patriarchal family. Her father's an immigrant, a huge family. How did she become Madonna at 17 or 18, So I go, I got to meet her. I got to meet her. So I went to that concert, found out where the band was playing afterwards, went there, met the band. And then, of course, I was still Chaldean and, this good girl. So I'm like, oh, I have to be home by 11. I have church tomorrow. And this and that. I got there at 10:30. They're like, oh my God, everyone else is doing Coke and hanging out, drinking. I'm like, oh, I can't drink. I can't do that. My dad will get me. I'll be in so much trouble. They're like, you're 22. I'm like, it is what it is. But I exchanged numbers with a band member and he said, let's keep in touch. And we ended up talking the whole tour, and he's like, you've got to come to New York the last 5 days there. You can meet Madonna and all this stuff. So my dad said, absolutely not. So I ended up writing a
Sin City.
Right?
Yes.
But just San Diego. I was born in Detroit till I was 10, but I was younger then. So that's all I knew. So I ended up leaving a note. So sorry, had to go to New York. And I just left while he was at work, and I went and I got to meet Madonna. And I'm like, Madonna, how did you become Madonna? As she was tying her shoelace, about to go on her 6-mile run in the morning before her concert. And long story short, she said, travel alone, because when you're from our cultures, you don't know who you are because everyone's telling you who you are. But when you travel alone, you get to make all your own decisions. How late do I want to stay up? When do I want to get up? Where do I want to go? Where do I want to eat? And I thought, oh my God. So that led me on a 2-week trip to Europe, where it was like 7-8 cities, but traveling through Europe and getting into all sorts of trouble because I'm a new traveler, got everything stolen on day 4, this stolen on day 8, almost someone on top of me from Brindisi, Italy to Greece on a boat because I had no room. And all of a sudden, what are you doing? Get off! Fighting people off, because it just said, I'm an idiot, going through idiot Italy with all those.
I'm a pretty young American with no idea of what I'm doing.
Right. Like diamonds on my fake even, but still it looked. And then those dolphin shorts, do you remember those?
Yes, I do. Did you have the ones with the different color? Did you have the ones?
Yes.
I went to San Diego State too, girl. So I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the dolphin shorts. They were so short too.
Yes. And then around Italy, come on, and you're in your early 20s, and it's like, why are these people doing this to me? Why are men coming up to me? It's like I was so naive because I was so protected. Wow. So it was a great wake-up call. So when I went back home, I'm like, I got to go to LA. I can't stay here anymore. Something inside me changed, and I said, disown me, whatever you have to do. I'm moving. And I moved to LA with a girlfriend who wanted to be a singer. And then I stayed with the Madonna guy. And we
the Madonna guy.
Yeah. He's still a friend today, ironically. I just saw him a couple of days ago. But yeah, and so every day there's Madonna at the house, Earth, Wind and Fire, Prince, Apollonia, that was Purple Rain. Everyone said, you'll be back in a couple of days, you'll never survive, you're a fawn. All of a sudden I'm with all these people, and I met Madonna and Sean's wedding a couple of months later. Then my boyfriend was up for a Grammy Award for jazz, and I met the Grammy Awards like in September. I moved there in June. August was the wedding. September is the Grammys and Janet Jackson. So I'm like, this is so easy. Of course, that psychic said,
And you're like, I'm not coming back. No.
Never coming back. Never coming back. And I never have.
I love the thing too about when you do travel, and especially when you're younger, um, you have to think, things are not all prepared for you either. You have to think on your feet, and it's true. Things will go wrong. You'll be robbed, or something will happen, but you have to rely on your wits and your wisdom,
Yes.
right? To get out of those situations. It also helps form you as an adult, as you get older, to decide too that um what you want and what you don't want,
Yes.
right? Because there's
Absolutely.
some people that are, especially young people, that are walking around, they don't know what they want, and they don't know what they don't want. But when you're out there on your own, you're like, oh, okay, that's that experience. Okay, that I will never do again. Cross that off my list. This I do like. I like the feeling of sitting around a campfire and singing songs with a bunch of hippies or whatever it is. You
Yes,
know,
yes.
I know when I was really young, well, I was like, before I went to school, even, we lived on campus at a prep school, Montclair College Prep. It's there in the valley, and my dad was a teacher there. And I would remember there was this hippie couple, this man and woman, they were called the hippies, right? They were building a big boat in the back. I don't know if they were a relative of the principal, of the person who ran the school, or what the deal was. I just remember that I couldn't wait to go out there and just watch them and talk to them, but watch them sand this boat and do all the little things that they were doing, painting it and all that stuff. And it was, in my mind, I was like, well, these are supposed to be the hippies. They're pot smoking, this or that. They're the ones that in those days were called, you know, the outsiders, or the people you want to stay away from. Because this was like, during, like Nixon and all this stuff. And I said, but they're really nice. They were so gentle and kind with me, and I wasn't a bother to them, like like I wasn't some kid like, get away, kid. No, they were like, here, do you want to help us with the boat? Do you want to? And I was like, wow, they treat me better than the supposed, the good Christians.
Yeah.
um so yeah, when you learn that at a early age, you're like, there's nothing wrong with these people. They're actually kind. And I think it's
Yes.
important to develop that sense, to not judge right away either. We are quite judgy as human beings, aren't we?
Very much so. But when you stop that, people feel it. I remember, kind of being an idiot, but I loved that side of me. I went to Amsterdam for the first time by myself. And of course, I ended up in the red light district, because what do you do in Amsterdam? You have to explore it all. I went to Anne Frank's house, Van Gogh Museum, and then, the red light district. And I'm walking there and went into some, interesting places, lots of little red light rooms, and just to see, what do people do here and who are these people. Then I started walking through the area where all the women are behind the glass. And I knocked on a couple of doors saying, can I interview you? I'll pay you the same as if I'm a gentleman caller, but I want to know who you are, why you do what you do. What, some said, no, 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 because no cameras, no this, no that. Then one person let me in, as long as I wouldn't take pictures, but she'd let me audio her, and her name was Teresa. And I said, why are you doing this? What's going on? How did you get here? Because she was Russian. I go, how did you get to Amsterdam? And she shared her story. And once you start hearing people's story, you start relating, because you connect with them on so many different levels. We're all the same fundamentally. Some of the experiences are different, but the feeling and the emotion under it is the same. So we're like having this deep conversation, and she's saying, she just wishes one day someone would touch her soul instead of her body, and how she protects herself, and that she's doing this because she has to raise her two kids that she had that from a rape, and she didn't want an abortion, and she's sacrificing herself for that. And her sister is a lawyer and looks down on her, but she married rich, and that guy put her through school. She didn't have that, and she's the one who got raped and had kids. You got to admire that, going, oh my God, she went to a different country doing this so she send money home to her kids. And it was just so impressive. And you're like, we all have our own journey. There's nothing right or wrong about anyone's choices. And when I was going home, it was late at night. I stopped into a bar and was doing pot whatever they gave at the bar. They have all this stuff. I'm like, I got to try it when in Rome. So then these people come up to me and go, oh, come join us. And I'm joining them and learning. They were from Prague and all these different places. There's about 6 of them. Then at the end, it was like 4 a.m. They said, do you want us to drive you home? I said, no, I want to walk. They said, oh, it's about a mile. I said, I'm cool with that because I just wanted the experience. It was like 4 a.m. Then I started walking out and it started getting a little shady, a lot of drunk characters. And so I found the biggest guy and I said, excuse me, will you walk me back? And it's like, what are you talking about? I go, just walk me back. And I kind of grabbed him and he started walking with me. He goes, how do you know I'm not a bad person? I'm not going to hurt you. I said, oh, I don't attract that. I only attract good guys. So I don't care who you are in your life. You can even share it with me, but you're going to get me home safely. And then he walked me all the homes to the rooms at the hotel safely. And he goes, may I come in for him? And I said, no, this is where it ends. Then he's like, oh, we'll always have Amsterdam. And I just looked at that and he shared so much about who he was. And first impression, he's this rugged guy, mean guy, bad guy. But when you don't judge, they feel it. And then there's a complicitness about you guys where you become one soul, where you could just share and just so much, heart and truth comes out. We all come in here as babies. We're all newbies just trying to find our way home. When you have people walking you home, even if it's for a minute or 10 minutes or 30 minutes, that left a huge impression, more than people I've known for 12 years or whatever. That little moment of saying, I'm going to protect you for 15 minutes, even though it's not my natural character, and it taught me it is who you are, like attracts like, vibration. It's all about vibration. It's all about how you stand in the world, how you hold yourself in the world. That's what you're going to attract. I never once got hurt on all these travels by myself, and I got into some crazy situations. I even went up to the Yakuza in Japan because I got a modeling contract, and then I thought, oh, I'm never going to be here again. I want to meet geishas because I want to know about how come they wear these masks and how come, because from growing up in Middle Eastern culture, why would you train to serve men and why would you train to be this and that? So I was on this mission and I found geishas, and that's a whole nother story. But then I saw the Yakuza and they said you could see them when their pinkies are cut off. So I went to this place. They said, don't go to Gion. That's the dangerous place. That's where the Yakuza are. I'm like, okay, got it. Taxi, Gion, please. And then I went there and I looked for tables. Then when a guy had their pinkies cut off, and I just went and sat down and I said, hi. I was 22 going, what are you doing here? Or 23. And they said, oh, we're not Yakuza. I go, yes, you are. I read that if your pinkies are cut, you guys have pinkies cut off. I said, I just want to know where the severed heads are. I want to know what you do, why you do it, who did it, why, what's the outcome, who are you guys? I'm never going to be back here. And I said, I may want to write a book about it sometime, and I just want to know from my own knowledge, not from a book. And I sat there and hung out with them for about a week. And they took me places. They never showed me lockers with severed heads because I read that in a book. They said, no, we don't have any of that. They said, what we do is we go to businesses because it's fair and stand in front. If they don't give us like money, 50,000, we will ruin their business. And if they give it, then they protect the business. They said, it's just like any other thing. Every
it's
business.
Like the mob. It's like,
yeah.
It's like New Jersey.
Yeah.
New Jersey. Right.
Yeah. And they train people if they don't follow, in line, they get a little rough, but it was just fascinating because I'm seeing their heart side, I'm seeing their family side and what got them into that and how it happened. And then you start understanding how people think, feel, act, what their story is, what their journey is. You could start having compassion. Look at all the people in jail. If we just gave them jazz music and put them in courses and gave them compassion and empathy, going, what happened to you? Tell me your story. And you really care.
So much of
what happened, right?
So much of it is what happened.
What happened?
Yeah. My dad was a probation officer in Los Angeles, and he a lot of times he would, when he was working with young boys, he would try to get them into like athletics, because that was his thing. He was a football coach, and he was like, sport is the way to get out of the, and a lot of them did. They channeled all their their energy into sport and things like that. But he would say, do you know what, Christine, what's frustrating to me is that when I'm working with a young man and telling him that I care about him and getting him introduced into sports and things like that, he said, the light that is shining in their eyes is so bright and they feel hopeful. But when we put them back into the place where they came from, their neighborhood, their situation, if they might have a parent who is on drugs or alcohol, who has substance abuse, because it's just that continuing story, right? That ripple effect, it just continues from father to son, from mother to daughter, mother to son, all those things. And he said that was what the tragedy was that he felt was, um, there was hope and a different life in front of them, but a lot of times when they were put back into those situations, abject poverty and drugs and crime all around you, they would slip back into those those situations where they found themselves either going to juvie or going into jail eventually. So it's
Yes.
so important, the environment that we're in. What with I want to remind our wonderful viewers and listeners, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see my beautiful guest, Lisa HAISHA. If you are listening to us on radio or on the podcast, Out of the Box with Christine podcast, my guest today is Lisa HAISHA, and she is a spiritual teacher, motivational speaker, author, world traveler, life coach. She's just a Renaissance woman, like myself in many ways. And she's the author of the book Soul Blazing: Transform Your Imposters into Superpowers and Live a More Purposeful and Authentic Life. I like this idea about imposters because I work as a coach, and you do this as well, I'm sure. I work with clients who their number one, number two issue is this imposter syndrome thing, where they're like, well, who am I, who am I to be a public speaker? Who am I to be someone that people can come to for advice? Who am I to be a leader? Ooh, I'm like, you are the perfect person. No, but this imposter syndrome, so many of us have it and wrestle with it. Can you talk about that? Apparently the soul blazing is also based on it's a form of personal transformation, but it's based on 7 imposters or archetypes. Can you talk about that? Go over that a little bit?
Yeah, from working with thousands of people over like 20 years and working with foster kids, working in orphanages, working in schools everywhere with and on my travels, I started saying there's got to be a pattern here, because I started hearing, I did this, especially in jail, because this person did this to me. They're victims. And in real life, I don't have money because my parents did this to me. I didn't have or someone stole it, or whatever. Or the overthinker. I wanted to write that book, or I wanted to do that, but they were perfectionists and never got it done. Or the joker, everything's a joke, or they try to put other people down just to make themselves look better. And the egotist, who is just like, I'll kill anyone to get to the top, no scruples, just, brutal. Or the seductor, sleep them way to the top, or flirt, or use their, wiles to get whatever it is. Or the judge, judging others and judging themselves. And then the fixer, always worrying about fixing other people so they don't have to look at themselves. Then the ultimate goal is your authentic soul, which is, who you truly are. But all these are masks that we put on, and we sometimes have all of them on, sometimes one, sometimes two, but there's usually a dominant one at any given time during your life. And I know my mask has changed throughout. Sometimes it's one, then it's another, and it's like, oh, that's interesting. Why am I living my life right now like this? Why did I make that choice? Oh, I'm scared. Usually it comes from fear, trying to protect yourself. So you put on this mask, and then you start telling a story, and it's like, that's not really a true story. It's a story I made up, because no story is true. And I know you know that. When, I have 4 sisters. If you say, oh, what was your childhood like? All of us have different images. I think we were rich. My sister says, no, we were poor. My dad borrowed money all the time. We were hand-me-downs. I'm like, no, we weren't, so it's like everyone has a story. So if you just get to nothing really matters, and you get to create your own story, you get to rewrite your childhood, you get to rewrite your story of who you are. And here in my office, I have pictures of people who I want to be like, because you are a combination of the 5 closest people to you. So I've got Gandhi, I've got Simone de Beauvoir, Anais Nin, Oprah Winfrey, Herman Hesse,
Oh, I love
Audrey
Anais Nin.
Hepburn. Yeah, I've got Maya Angelou. I've got Pablo Picasso, Wayne Dyer, Marilyn Monroe, Tracy Chapman, Tina Turner, all these people. So, and I have their books, and it's like, oh, just read a chapter or read a paragraph, whatever. So their essence is always coming in. I love the grace of Audrey Hepburn. I love the sassiness of Tina Turner and the Oprah Winfrey, how she overcame so much and there was no excuses in her life. And Anais Nin, she was fearless of writing in her journals and telling the truth. You know, all these people. And it's like, then that's who you become. So many people are in a household or they collect friends who are like them and they stay the same and they can't grow. And it's like, no, because your vibration is, you know, like especially women in prison. I'm like, why are you here? It's like, oh, my great-grandparents, my grandparents, my parents were all in jail in and out, and they were all, you know, murder, drugs, you know, single family homes where nobody, you know, latchkey kids, and it was just the culture. So it's like, that's just who I became, and that's how I raised my kids, and that's how, and it's like, no, but you could stop that. And it's very powerful once you do. And that's how soul blazing came about. I was in the Chowchilla prison working with these lifers, and then I got the bully of the prison, and her name was Bella. And then she was so mean to me, like daring me to have any compassion to her. Who do you think you are? You know, you're this, you know, privileged person, and da da da. I'm like, no, I'm here to help. Because you know how many people have been in here? Like, you know, I've been in here for 23 years. It's like every month there's 2 or 3 counselors, social workers, priests, teachers. And she says, no one could help me. I'm in here for life regardless. So she was just really mean, really angry. You know, she had a shaved head and she had tattoos of snakes going down, twirling around her biceps. And she was just mean through and through. And I'm like, no, you could trust me. She goes, how can I trust you? And she goes, I hate your stupid briefcase. You know, like who brings a briefcase? Like, fucking relatable to us. I'm like, I hate my briefcase too. Okay, I brought it to impress you. I thought it made me look smart. So that broke the ice a little. I said, just give me a minute. Give me your hands. And I held her hands and I was fearless. I just went up to her like this, intertwined our legs. And I just went up to her and looked her in the eyes. I said, just take a minute, just forget who you are for a second. And I just looked at her and saying, I love you. You know, I love you. And something in her broke. I think she first of all felt seen for the first time. And then we started just talking. And at the end of it, she said, you know, Lisa, you blazed my soul. And I said, look, Bella, you just gave me the name for my business instead of a life coach. And I'm a soul blazer. Then I said, listen, this is what you do. And I gave her affirmations. I said, what's troubling you? Then based on that, I create declarations where, you know, if you say whatever issue it is, I'll, you know, I'm ugly or whatever. It's like, who gave you that? And that's what your imposter is. What mask gave you that? Who gave you that? If you name it, you could claim it. Oh, my mom used to tell me that, or my dad, or this bully at school. Then you go, oh, okay, that's theirs. It's not you. It's a dysfunctional person gave you all your issues. You didn't. It's not you, it's them. And then what's the opposite of that? Or how do you want to be seen? I'm a beautiful being, you know, whatever it is. So you create that based on that. And I gave her these. And I said, when you want to kill someone or someone's new and you want to torture them, think about how you could love them. What do you have in common? Change their vibration. This is like a whole city. And I don't know if you've ever been to a prison. It is like a city.
But yes.
It's just like Sherman Oaks or Studio City or Hollywood. It's huge. I go, this is your home. You live here forever. Make it fun. Make it nice. Be the, you know, counselor of everyone, because you're in here for life and you have obviously a strong personality, a leadership personality that everyone fears. But instead of fearing, have them love you. And she was in there for killing her 3rd husband. But she said he tried to hurt her. And I believe that. Because, you know, all the women, I did it. All the men's present, I was framed. And I'm like, oh, interesting. Right. The women, I killed them.
Right.
But, you know, I believe her because she keeps picking the same type of people that she saw her dad do to her mom. And it's a pattern.
Right.
So I said, but you could change that. And after about 6 months, she raised all this money on a payphone, raising money for battered women. And the prison told me, what did you do? The chaplain calling, what did you do to her? She's changed. And I'm like, oh my God, that's fantastic. They don't allow you to keep in touch because they think that could be a you know, dangerous situation, whatever. So, but they told me that. And I'm like, oh my God, that really helped. Just someone seeing her. No one could see her soul. Oh, she's the mean one. She's the bully. She's the angry one. When you go, no, you're not.
Because you didn't judge. Yeah, you didn't judge.
You're a good person. Yeah.
You didn't judge and just say, well, and that's because that's the other thing. People go, well, if they're in prison, they deserve it, and they should, rot in jail. And it's like,
Yes.
no. First of all, you don't know. I personally, I know someone, a woman who was in jail, and she was saying that she had gone and spoken to. She's out now, and she actually helps women do the transfer. That's the other thing. When they're let out of jail, they have nothing. They give them nothing, right? And so they're basically like, go and survive. And so, but she said that so many of the women there were in there because they retaliated or defended themselves against an abusive boyfriend,
Yes.
husband, someone that they knew.
That's exactly
It
true.
wasn't some stranger, but they finally at some point just snapped or just said, you know what, you're not going to hurt me anymore. And they defended themselves, and they're in prison trying to survive. So
Yes.
we don't need to judge people just because they're in a certain situation. It's the same thing when I'm very sensitive. I'm very much an empath, and I'm very, very sensitive to other people. I have that compassion. And so when I see someone who's homeless, who's on the street, I really don't like it when people judge them and they go, "Oh, they should just get a job. I can't believe they're out." It's like, mate, you don't know what that person has been through. You don't know what brought them to this point. And why not be kind? And why not take a moment and listen to their story? You know, help them in some way instead of judging. And I think if we did that as a society, we would be in a lot better position right now.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's everyone in there. Something happened and it was somebody they knew overall. And once I let my inner Mathena off on Bella, and mirrored her angriness and that, and then got into the love and saying, listen, we could go that direction, or we could just cut through. I know who you are. I see you. You're not that person. It was your choices you made and that you continue to make to protect yourself. You could also make these choices and be much happier and have a much better life. So it's all choices. And if we just gave these people a chance and created a different prison system, everything could change. We wouldn't have all this crime. But when nobody cares about you and they know that, and they already are so deep into the negative of life, there's no other option but to keep committing crimes, which is awful.
Well, it's really hard. I call it the spiral. It's really hard when,
Yeah.
and if you're in jail or not in jail, if just in life in general, when we spiral down that emotional drain. When you let the bathtub water out and it goes down the
Yes.
drain. I find that it can be hard for people to stop that because it's so strong. The force is so strong to
Yes.
spiral down to say, no one loves me, F the world. Who cares? I'll get what I want because, nobody cares about me. Right. And it's that survival. I don't know what that is. If that's that part of our brain that maybe we're afraid of getting kicked out of the tribe, and have to be eaten by a dinosaur or a saber-toothed tiger. So we have this need to feel like we're going to do anything and everything it takes, no matter what or who we hurt. But I think that you've caught on to something about just trying to be able to connect with someone. Looking them in the eye is huge as well.
Oh yeah, the people were scared. No, you can't get that close. You're supposed to stand this on. No, this is special. I'm like, no, she's the worst one in the prison. I'm like, stop. Let me do my thing. Putting away the script, and I'm going to do what I do and see what I could do. Because otherwise, why am I here? It's just wasting my time. So, but after some of these experiences, I still realized there was something broken inside me from what happened to me as a child. Even though my dad and I were good friends again and buddies, and I understood what he did. And it was an isolated incident. It's not like that happened every day. But I decided I needed to go to Iraq because I'm not going to be an actress anymore. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. What am I going to do with my life? And that's when I was obsessed with Christiane Amanpour. Remember her?
Yes,
and she's
yeah.
still around. Yeah. And she was in Afghanistan and Bosnia doing all this war reporting. I'm like,
so you were
oh my
God,
God.
Journalists, you were going to be like
yeah, I thought that would be fun and go to Afghanistan.
Correspondent would be, oh yes.
Yeah, and I thought I could be with the Taliban and I could talk to them and I could like tell them I love them and I could change the world. So I heard on the news it was saying, there was no, Iraq was being invaded. It was Desert Storm. And they said, it was no fly zone. So you have to go to Jordan and it's an 18-hour bus ride into Iraq. And they stop it 5 times and sometimes they kidnap Americans. So I said, I got it. I will get on that bus and I will get kidnapped and then I'm going to talk to them, soul blaze them. Then we're going to write a book together and then I'm going to get on CNN and everything. Then I'm going to become a war reporter because now I'm going to change the whole Middle East situation.
You're the Middle East peace plan through getting kidnapped.
Yeah. So I planned it. I got cubic zirconia and I got a, fake Louis Vuitton bag and I go there and I go to New York International, then to get on to Jordan. And I meet this woman there. I just see her by herself a lot because you're there about 2 hours ahead of time. And I end up going up to her. Who are you with? Are you going to Jordan? She goes, oh, no, I'm going to Iraq. I go, where's your family? I'm going by myself. I go, why? She goes, oh, I'm going there to kill myself. I go, what? She goes, I heard there was a bus. She was around my same age. I said, no, this is what we're going to do. Why don't you join me? This is a long story short. Join me and we could, co-write this book together and we could be journalists together. And she's like, oh, that sounds cool. So we get on this bus.
Sounds better than killing myself.
Yeah, because she was locked in a family where she couldn't be herself. And she was the prized child. She was the unknown 9th child that was an accident. And everyone else had to have, own grocery store jobs and that they groomed her to be the lawyer. Now she's this prestigious lawyer. And she goes, I want to be a belly dance teacher, live in LA. I like drugs. I like, you have to marry a good Arab boy. And she goes, I like everybody, she was in New York all the time and going, I can't live this. I can't be fake any longer. And I can't disappoint my family. So I get it. So we went on this trip. And then when they come on to do the security, I go, oh, my diamonds. Oh, my dad knew I took these. Oh, let's hide these. Oh, let me put them back in here. Will you hold them for me? Oh, do you guys know Louis Vuitton? Oh, da, da, da. And nobody heard us. Nobody did anything. We went all through Iraq. Then we kept saying, we got to meet Saddam Hussein with our concierge because the expats were there trying to bring peace over there. And I didn't get to meet Saddam, but I did get to meet Taha Ramadan and Tariq Aziz, the vice president and secretary of state at the time, got into the dinner. All that's a huge story. But what I learned from that is you could really get into anywhere. You could do what you want and your vibration saves you. Not one person there. We went to the worst part of town. They were on the news. We hate Americans. And I'm like, where is that? Go to that area. So I'd go to where they're picketing American. And they're like, oh, Habibi, come, you eat for free. Come to my restaurant. I'm like, what happened to you hate us? Like, oh, we have to say that for the news and be careful. The walls have ears. So don't say anything. And that's how they just take people and throw them in jail because they have like secret microphones everywhere. Yeah. But it's like, oh my God, all these people that then we're afraid of, they're all nice people too. And they're just like, they have to do it because that's what the government tells them to do. But they're, so I realize all the news is biased to a certain degree of what they can say. The positive and the negative. It's like nothing ever was true when I traveled.
No, that whole desert story, that whole thing was a crock of lies and the whole Saddam Hussein thing with the mushroom cloud. Remember that? Mushroom cloud. It's going to be a mushroom cloud. Yeah. Everybody was mushroom cloud. And that wasn't, no, so much, so many wars and so much strife and pain and suffering and horrors have been inflicted upon people. And by the way, majority women and children. Okay. Based on lies. And based on greed, because we know there was a pipeline, we know the whole thing, although that's not front page news anymore. Right. But when you actually go and meet the people, right?
They're amazing.
We were told to be afraid of, look at the people who were Arab Americans, who look at the Sikhs because they had the hair, the thing on their head. They were being beaten up. They were being beaten up in America because people thought that they were the Taliban, and they're Sikhs, right? And they're the most peaceful, kind, loving. Yeah, it was crazy. So
very crazy.
So that's the moral of the story: is don't just judge, and don't allow someone else to tell you what to think about people. Go and talk to them.
Yeah, and it's breeding kids to think that way. If you think that way as an adult,
Yeah.
because then I worked my way to Tilkef, which is where my father was, the Christian area, which is like 2,000 people out of the whole country because everyone's Muslim. And I went into the orphanage, going, let me go, because this is the orphanage my dad was going to put me in. I start talking to these children. They're like, you hate us. Why does America kill us? Why does this? Why does that? The whole world's against us. I'm like, no, it's politics. We care about you. I'll memorialize your words. Then they're like, yeah, right. I'm like, how am I going to memorialize their words? So I started asking them questions, is God fair? Why are we not? Who do you want to be? Who do you want to be when you grow up? Who would you want to meet? And asking them all this and caring about them for a couple of weeks. And then I left thinking, what am I going to do with this? And then I ended up getting a job for trade shows in different countries. So I go, oh, let me go to orphanages and stay longer and interview kids. And that ended up being this book, Whispers from Children's Hearts, where I went to 15 countries over 5 years, staying in orphanages and stuff and learning about how these kids were developed and all their prejudice based on what they were told or what happened to them. I'm saying, no, you could undo that. This is just certain people, and there's a vast world out there, and this, just all these conversations. And it just made me feel, so sad. And it was hard for me to just go on a trip unless it was a mission trip. And then I started leading retreats and workshops to these places to say, let's all bring a suitcase of goods to bring to these kids, knock on their door, be Oprah, stay there for a week, hire local construction workers and just give them beds or give them goats, chickens, whatever, a floor, clothing, school supplies, varnished desks, whatever they needed. And that was the most rewarding thing I ever did. And then changing these people's lives. And then you come back and you're like, how can I just go on living and, just let me go to, sit on a beach for 2 weeks and just indulge with, I know a lot, that's important too, and to take time out, but it was so hard for me because I'm like, God, there's so much to do in this world. And I don't get my gratification from just sitting there. I get bored. It's like, I could be doing something.
What you just described, like by going to an orphanage and actually staying there a week and making things happen, not just wringing your hands and going, oh, this is horrible, this is so bad, but like actually doing something so that these kids too, that's going to be a memory for them that somebody actually cared enough to talk to them, cared enough to actually do something to make their lives a little bit easier. Right.
And we brought Polaroid cameras and gave them to the kids and took pictures of like, whoa, like in a minute you get a picture. Some of them have never even seen photos of themselves. So now they have these memories with their friends. I mean, it was just so, oh my God, amazing. And I met my husband.
You just inspired me, Lisa. You have definitely inspired me. And I hope our listeners and viewers of Out of the Box with Christine are inspired too as well. That is such a beautiful life mission that you have, and that you've had, and that you are having right now. Because I know it's not ending.
No, it never ends. It never ends. No, I just got a grant from Google to work with teens and kids, and I just created a program.
Great.
So it could be free and work with all these different people. But even when I got married, I told my husband, you have to know who I am and know what I do so you won't get mad at me if I travel. And he's like, what? And I took him to Cambodia because someone was creating a thing there, an orphanage for kids. And he was just starting. So he only had about 30 kids. And now he has about 300 kids. And he has, a beauty shop, a nail salon, training them to have jobs. But at that time, he was working really hard. He was a show producer. And he's like, I only get 1 month off a year. I'm like, well, you're coming here. It's like, it's on linoleum floors with orphans. He's like, what? No, I want white sand beaches. I'm like, no. So he's carrying hepatitis C babies through rice fields. He's like, this is not my idea of a vacation in 100-degree heat. I'm like, well, now you know. When I say I'm traveling for a month, you're going to know what I'm doing, and you won't say no. So he's like, you got it.
Beautiful. What a wonderful way to end this show. That is, because visually I'm just seeing him walking with the
I get 1 month off a year. I want my white sand beach. So I'm like, no, this is going to stay with you. The white sand beach is just another.
What a memory. Yeah. Exactly. What a memory and connection. Oh my gosh. Again, you've inspired me so much, Lisa. I want to thank you so much for being on the show today. And if people want to find out more about you, want to learn about the book and all that stuff, you have a website. You want to throw out the URL? as they say?
Yes, it's my name, lisahaisha.com or soulblazing.com. Both will lead you there. Again, the book, Soul Blazing. And you could get this on Amazon. And I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll make sure we have links in the show notes to the website and to the link directly to the book as well. One quick question before we go. Do you have the audiobook version of Soul
I
Blazing?
do. It's on Amazon.
Girl,
Yes,
I
yes,
was
yes,
gonna say.
yes.
Okay, fantastic. We'll make sure we have links to all of that. Thank you again, love. It's so good to see you. It's so good to be with
So
you.
good to see you
Let's
too.
not let 10 years pass by.
I know. Are you coming back to the States soon for a vacation?
Maybe
or-
for a visit at some point. Yeah, maybe at a visit. I do miss my stomping grounds there. And yeah, there's some beautiful friends there that I would love to see again. And you
Yeah.
will be at the top of that list as well.
Oh,
Okay.
yay. Okay.
Thank you so much. And I want to thank you, wonderful listeners and viewers on YouTube for joining us today. If you want more information about this show, you can go to outoftheboxwithchristine.com. And if you want more information about me and my coaching, you can go to christineblosdale.com. Links will be in the show notes. And until next time, as I always say, remember to think outside that damn box. Bye for now.